In the quiet town of Oakwood, nestled among the thick woods, there stood an old mansion known as Casper Sight. Its imposing structure loomed over the surrounding landscape, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch endlessly into the night. Legend had it that the mansion was cursed, haunted by the spirits of those who had met their tragic ends within its walls. Emily, a young journalist with a fascination for the supernatural, had heard the tales of Casper Sight since childhood. Determined to uncover the truth behind the stories, she embarked on a journey to the abandoned mansion, armed only with her camera and a sense of dread that seemed to grow with each step. As Emily approached the gates of Casper Sight, she felt a chill run down her spine. The air grew thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the sound of her own footsteps echoing against the cobblestone path. The mansion loomed before her like a specter of the past, its windows boarded up and its walls stained with age. Undeterred by the foreboding atmosphere, Emily pushed open the creaking gates and ventured into the mansion's grounds. The overgrown garden seemed to come alive with the whispering of unseen voices, and she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched from the shadows. With trembling hands, Emily raised her camera and began to document her journey into the heart of darkness. Each photograph captured the decaying beauty of Casper Sight, its grandeur faded by time and neglect. But as she delved deeper into the mansion's depths, Emily sensed that she was not alone. Strange noises echoed through the corridors, footsteps that seemed to follow her every move. Shadows danced in the flickering candlelight, and the air grew heavy with the stench of decay. Emily's heart pounded in her chest as she pressed on, determined to uncover the truth behind the mansion's curse. As she reached the grand staircase, Emily's flashlight flickered and died, plunging her into darkness. Panic clawed at her throat as she groped blindly in the blackness, her hands brushing against cold, clammy walls. And then, she heard it, a low, guttural growl that seemed to emanate from the very depths of the mansion itself. With a trembling hand, Emily lit a match and held it aloft, illuminating the darkness with a flickering glow. What she saw sent a shiver down her spine. The walls were lined with faces, twisted in agony and despair, their eyes hollow and empty. It was as if the very souls of the damned were trapped within the mansion's walls, forever condemned to roam its halls in search of release. Driven by terror, Emily fled deeper into the mansion, her footsteps echoing in the empty corridors. But no matter how far she ran, she could not escape the feeling of being watched, of being hunted by something unseen and malevolent. Finally, Emily stumbled into the heart of the mansion, a vast, cavernous chamber bathed in an eerie blue light. And there, standing before her, was the source of the curse that had plagued Casper Sight for generations. A figure shrouded in darkness, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. With a voice like ice, it spoke, a whisper that seemed to echo from the very depths of the earth. "You have trespassed upon sacred ground, mortal," it intoned. "Now, you shall pay the price for your curiosity." With a sudden gust of wind, the candles flickered and died, plunging Emily into darkness once more. And as the shadows closed in around her, she knew that she would never escape the haunted halls of Casper Sight. For in the heart of darkness, there are no heroes, only victims, lost to the eternal embrace of fear. As Emily struggled to make sense of the darkness surrounding her, she heard the faint sound of footsteps echoing through the chamber. They were slow and deliberate, drawing closer with each passing moment. Paralyzed with fear, Emily pressed herself against the cold stone wall, her breath coming in ragged gasps. The footsteps grew louder, closer, until they seemed to be right beside her. Emily closed her eyes, unable to bear the thought of what horrors awaited her in the darkness. And then, with a sudden jolt, the footsteps stopped. For a long moment, there was silence, a deafening void that seemed to stretch on for eternity. And then, without warning, the chamber was filled with a piercing scream that sent shivers down Emily's spine. With a surge of adrenaline, Emily forced herself to open her eyes and confront the source of the sound. What she saw froze her blood in her veins. Standing before her was a spectral figure, its twisted form bathed in an ethereal glow. The figure's face was contorted in agony, its eyes blazing with a malevolent light. With a voice like ice, it spoke, a whisper that seemed to echo from the very depths of the earth. "You dare to disturb the peace of Casper Sight," it intoned, its voice dripping with malice. "You shall suffer for your trespass, as all who come here do." Emily tried to flee, to escape the clutches of the vengeful spirit that haunted the mansion's halls. But no matter how fast she ran, she could not outrun the darkness that pursued her at every turn. With a sinking feeling of dread, Emily realized that she was trapped within the cursed walls of Casper Sight, doomed to roam its haunted halls for all eternity. And as the darkness closed in around her, Emily knew that she would never escape the grasp of the horrors that lurked within. For in the heart of Casper Sight, there is no escape, only darkness, and fear, and the echoes of those who came before.